Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Oline and I'm a knitter from Norway, and welcome to my knitting podcast. Here we talk about all things knitting, current project, finished projects, projects we want to cast on, yarn, just everything knitting. But before we get into all of that, I'm going to share what I'm wearing. And today I'm wearing my what's it called? Weekend Slipover V-neck by Petiteknit. I think I made this close to 2 years ago, so some of the details are a bit fussy, but I made this in Drops Nepal and Drops Kid Silk, and I think I made it in light grey in Nepal and in grey in Kid Silk, and I think that made a really beautiful like marling effect. The light grey as a base with the Nepal, with the small like marling effect with the darker grey Kid Silk. So I'm really, there are just loads of things I like about this slipover, but especially the color is just perfect. I really want to make something else with a color similar to this, with like a lighter beige as like the base, with some details with the darker grey Kid Silk, because I really like this. But even though I really like the color of this, I really like the V-neck and how kind of seamless the V-neck is, and I love the Italian bind off on the V-neck. I think this project maybe is the thing that sold me on doing tubular and Italian binds offs, because I made 2 of this in a row. I made my grandma one first. I made her one in some sort of pink. I can't remember the names, but I'll get the picture so you can see. I made that first, and I absolutely fell in love with knitting this slip over up. It's such a fun knit. I love how you started in the back with doing German short rows. I love doing German short rows, and doing the shoulders with the V-neck, the chunky needles, the yarn. I loved everything about knitting it up. So once I had knit her slipover up, I really wanted to make one for myself. So I did, and I was really pleased with the yarn choice, really pleased with how everything turned out. And then I was finished with the slipover, and I was so excited to start wearing it. But when I finished, I realized I'm not a slipover person. I've barely used this since I finished it. I have it in my knit wear closet, and I look at it and I want to use it, but I just have not figured out how to wear it in a way I like and that feels comfortable and like good to me. I just never gravitate towards it. I'm wearing it now and I think it's okay, but there's just something about it. Maybe this part is a bit too far out on my shoulders and it's just a bit big. Maybe it did turn out a bit big, but I just don't know what it is, because I really like it, but I just can't get myself to wear it. I also think it is knit in Drops Nepal with Drops Kid Silk, and I think that might be the warmest combination out of everything in my closet. I don't have anything quite as warm because Nepal is really thick and combined with Kid Silk as well, and that just makes this impossible to wear in the warmer months, and really kind of impossible to wear in the fall and spring as well, because this is just so insanely warm. But in the winter, when it's really cold and the fabric would be kind of the perfect fit, then I kind of miss that this doesn't have sleeves, because it is a slipover. There are no sleeves, so my arms get really cold, so I end up using another sweater instead. So I just don't know where this fits into my knitted wardrobe and my like how I dress, but I really want to figure out a way where I can get more use out of this, because I do really like the color, and every time I look at it I am a bit sad that I don't use it, of course, but I'm also reminded of how fun it was to knit this up. I really had such a blast knitting it up, and just thinking back on it, it just fills me with so much joy. So I do really wish that I can figure out how to wear it so I don't have to let it go and give it away or sell it to someone else, because I do really want to keep this because it holds so many memories. But yeah, I do want to figure out how to wear it. If I can't figure out how to wear this, I think the thing I might do is to use the same yarn color, because I really enjoy that, and maybe make a what's it called, weekend sweater in the same yarn, same everything, just not a slipover but a sweater instead, because I get a lot more use out of sweaters. Sweaters are my go-to thing. But if you wear a lot of slipovers and have any tips as to how to wear slipovers and feel more comfortable in them, please let me know, because I do really wanna wear this more. But that is my weekend slipover, and probably my least one knit ever. But all that said, we can move into my current WIPs. And this week they have got a upgraded storage space, because I was so lucky to be gifted some project bags by the Knitting Swan, and I absolutely love how these look. They have small roses on them, if you can see, and kind of a quilted fabric that I'm really in love with. And I got 2 different project bags. This is one of them, kind of this dome shape, maybe you would call it, with these drawstrings, and I really enjoy this, that it closes up 100%, because then I feel like I can really stuff everything down there. And this is also the perfect size for a sweater's quantity of yarn and the sweater project as you work on it, for an adult sweater. So I have one of my WIPs in here. Another thing I really like about it is I usually use tote bags when I store my knits. I swear to tote bags, love those. But this is like an upgraded version of that, because this one closes, and it also has pockets inside where I can have I have a box with all my knitting essentials, and I can just put that box in one of the pockets, and then I know where it is, that it's in one of the pockets, because usually when I have tote bags and I have stitch holders and I have knitting needles and I have yarn and I have like everything I like to have with me when I'm out of the house, I really struggle to find everything, because everything's just at the bottom of my tote bag tangled together. So I hope that with these pockets I'll have a more organized that my knits will be more organized when I'm out and about too. So I'm really excited. Also the other tote bag, I can just show that quickly. I haven't gotten to start using that one yet, because I just recently got them. I'm so excited to start using these more and really discovering all of the advantages to being more organized with my knitting. But this is the other one. This is a tote bag, but it's really large, and this also has pockets inside. I'm really excited about this, because this is probably so large that I can fit everything, both for me, my knitting, and everything I need for my son, all in this. So I won't have to both bring a diaper bag and my knitting tote bag and something else to bring with me, everything when we leave the house. So super excited about this as well. And then the pockets will be really nice as well, because I can put change of clothing for my son in here, diapers, my knitting needles, everything, and they will be separated instead of having to sort through everything to find what you need. So this is the Knitting Swan, and I am just super, and this one also has a cute little skirt, which I think is so cute and such a fun detail. But I'm so excited to start using these more and to now finally have project bags instead of just regular tote bags. But yes, my WIPs. Here is my main WIP. I'm trying to keep my main WIP in this one just because this is the one I reach for when leaving the house because it's just so easy. And then I have everything I need with me. All of the yarn for the Violeta is in here, everything. So this is the Violeta pullover. This is like my obsession as of lately. It's so pretty. I'm like I'm amazed it's possible even to make a design that's this pretty. All the cables, the lace, I'm just blown away. But yeah, this is the Violeta right now. I think my goal last podcast was to separate for sleeves, and as you can see I have done that, and I've also knit about 10 centimeters I'd say after that. But it's been on a bit of a break actually, even though I'm obsessed with it. It has been on a bit of a break just in the last few days because this is a very textured knit. There's a lot of lace, there are so many cables, so my fingers needed a bit of a break, my brain needed a bit of a break because this is a knit I really have to focus on. So it's been nice to just take a step back and relax a bit, do some knitting that's just meditative, just easy. I don't have to pay any attention to it, but I'm really excited to work more on this. I really love it and I am so pleased with how the pink is turning out. I have been talking about wanting some sort of pink sweater for quite some time now, so some light pink sweater, and when I knew I was going to make this, I knew this should be my pink sweater, but ever since I started making it I've been a bit unsure if this really is the pink that I wanted, if the pink in this turned out too bright or anything. So yesterday I think I decided to try this on just to see how I felt about the pink when I tried it on, if it washed me out, how it just went with my skin tone and everything. So I tried it on also to see how the fit of it was, how oversized or not oversized this was, how much left I had to knit before starting the ribbing, kind of gauge just where I want this sweater to stop on me, everything. I'll show a picture of that, and since trying that on I am just even more obsessed with this because this is really turning out exactly how I wanted it to. I think the pink is exactly the shade of pink I wanted it to be. I really like the fit of it. It's not at all too oversized because I didn't really want all of this lace and everything to be on a really oversized baggy sweater. Since this is so feminine and beautiful, I wanted it to kind of be quite close fitting. I still don't know exactly how it's going to look after blocking and washing, but I'm really pleased with how it's looking so far. And also I think because it is not that oversized at all, that I'm probably going to want it to end about at my hip bone. So, and also I'm supposed to do some ribbing, so I don't have that much left to go at all really. I'm about here now, so probably like this much before starting to do the ribbing. So this is really getting close to having the body finished, and I think that is my goal for this week, to have the body finished just so I can try it on even better because I am really excited. But also with this project I am really trying to savor it, not work on it, like not stressing through it. I just want to work on this and have a good time, savor all the cables and the lace, and just savor working on a dream project of mine, because a pink sweater has really been a dream and I feel like I'm making it now. So I want to savor all of that. And also there are a lot of cables now. I think last time when I showed this, I think I'd made a mistake actually, because when doing the raglan, you're supposed to add in cables as you go, and as you might know if you watched before, I'm not the best at reading all the way through patterns. I just read a bit and then I think, okay, I got it. And then a lot of the time I really don't. I've missed like a key part of it. And I've done that here as well. But luckily I'm knitting this at the same time as someone. So we're talking about our knits and showing it to each other. And they pointed out to me that you are supposed to add in cables as you go. And luckily they pointed that out to me soon enough that I didn't have to frog too much. But I did have to ladder down a few rounds here, but it was easy enough. It was before I made the first cable twist, so I just had to ladder down and add in some purl stitches and start doing that. And then I remembered it for the others. And then also you do one under the sleeve. So I'm really glad that was pointed out to me really quickly, so it was easy to fix it, because if not, I think that would be a pain in the ass to fix. And I think those extra cables really do make a big difference. So I'm really glad I added those in. But with all those cables being added in, it's a lot of cables. The round where you do cables, I think you do like 12, I don't know, I have not counted, but you do a lot of cables. So I am trying to also save my hand a bit, because cables is something that I feel in my knuckles and fingers if I do too much of for too long of a time period. So I'm trying to act a bit I'm trying to avoid that from happening. I'm trying to like stall my knitting before I start feeling pain. So even though I really just want to sit knitting on this 24/7, I'm trying to also have other projects that I really want to work on. So I give myself a bit of a break from all the cables on this. But I am super excited to work on it, and I do want to have the body finished by next week. I think that would be really fun. This is also giving me all of the spring vibes. So in my head, I am in full-on spring mode. In my head, it's spring, and outside it's negative 30 degrees. So it's a bit of a clash, but I am very ready to be done with winter now. It's been dark for not long enough. It's been cold for long enough. So this is me manifesting spring, and hopefully when I'm done with this we will at least have a bit of warmer weather, because I'm really sick and tired of it being so cold that we can't even go outside. Another thing with this is I did make a mistake on this in like the middle of the lace pattern, and I decided to not go back and frog it, because I'd made the mistake across the whole row, and I made a mistake twice. So on two different of these leaves on the lace, I made a mistake twice, but I did not notice it for quite some time. So my hope is that you just can't notice it. So we can just, do you notice it? If I just hold it up here and don't tell you what the mistake is, can you notice it? Tell me if you did before I point it out, because then I might have to go back and do something about it. But my mistake is right here is one of them, that the leaf part is just, I did stockinette without yarn over for a bit too long, but it's not that noticeable, so I think I'm just going to let it go. Here you can see how it should be, and then this is how it shouldn't be. So I did that on all the leaves on that round and also on the next leaf, because I had done the repeat to the pattern so many times, so I thought for sure now I know how to do it, I can remember how to do it, it will be right this time, I don't need to look at the chart. And then I messed up, and I messed up twice. So now I've gone back, I'm looking at the chart and trying to not make any more mistakes, but it's definitely easier to make a lot of mistakes when knitting this, and I always think I know what to do a bit before I actually know what to do. But luckily that was not too bad mistake, and you can't really see it, so I don't think it really matters. I have to like look for it to find it. It's not like it immediately grabs my eye. So that's where I'm at with this one. Hopefully none of you noticed it without me pointing it out, so I don't have to leather down and fix it. Also I have for this one, when I started it, I talked about not having any stitch markers, so it was a bit hard to put in all the stitch markers I needed to establish the pattern, and then I fixed it with just knotting some yarn together. But one of you was so kind as to send me a lot of stitch markers after that, so thank you so much, Malene, for doing that. Here they are, and there's just so many really pretty ones. But I found a favorite that I'm still using for this one, because one of the stitch markers was this really pretty pink flower, and I felt like the color and everything of it just fit this project so well. It's pink, it's a flower, this is pink and has like petals on it almost in the lace. So I thought that fits so well. So that is my beginning of round marker. And also among the stitch markers there are so many pretty ones. There are more flowers and lots of different things. And there's also some really basic ones. Let's see if I can get them. Some really basic ones that I think, oh my god, that was very hard to show. Some really basic ones that I think would be great for doing raglan increases and just keeping everything in order. So I'm really excited to use more of these stitch markers and to now have stitch markers I can use. And I think when I start knitting on my wedding dress, which hopefully will happen this month, I think these will be a big help, so I won't have to count everything twice or more, and just to keep everything in line and on track, because I don't want to frog that more than I have to, and I'm already anticipating having to frog a lot. So thank you so much, Malene. But I think that's all for the Violeta. I'm just very excited about it. I didn't say what yarn I knitted in. I'm knitting it in Drops Flora and Drops Kid Silk in pink and in pearl pink, and I must say that is the perfect combination. And then we can move into the other. I had 2 active projects last week, and this is the second one of those. And for this, the goal was also to separate for sleeves, and I have done that as well. And I think another goal I had for this one was to finish the body, and I've done that too. So I'm really pleased with this. I don't know why, but this week I feel like I've just been knitting quite a lot, honestly. I feel very pleased with how much knitting time I've gotten, but the feeling I've had is just that I've been knitting so much but not really accomplished anything, not gotten anywhere. And I can see now, like objectively, that I've gotten quite a lot of progress on my knit, but I think it's something about making 2 like doll-size sweaters at a time that can be just a bit demotivating, because everything's so large and you have to knit for so long, so it can take quite some time to see progress because the rounds are so long and everything. And I get a lot of motivation from like seeing me actively progress. So I've had a bit of a struggle with that this week. Also, this one's black, so that's also been a bit challenging because you really can't see anything. But I think I was here about like here or something. One increase before, I had one increase left before separating for the sleeves. And I think I did that the same night almost as I podcasted last, because I was really motivated and excited to get fewer stitches on my needles and to get going with this. And then I separated for sleeves and everything went a lot faster, of course, because I was finally working in stockinette stitch and had a lot fewer stitches on my needles. So that was really nice. But working with 2 strands of mohair with black yarn has just been challenging. In the start it was okay and kind of fun, but I don't think like mohair really is for me, at least not with small needles and black yarn, because I just got very tired of it. My eyes got tired, I got a bit demotivated. Also, I just wanted to work on the Violeta sweater, but I kept telling myself that I should work on this because this is the sweater I adopted from my friend and she's coming here, so I want to give it back to her, and that's in a week. So I felt like I just have to get things moving. So I was knitting on this even though I really didn't want to, and that's never a great combination if you want to have motivation. So this kind of killed my motivation a bit, and it's very hard to get motivation back to make black things. But I got to the point where you do the ribbing quite quickly. I had this deal with myself that I would knit through the 2 mohair skeins for this one, and then I would allow myself to knit on the Violeta, and then I would knit the Dropsfora and Kid Silk skein for that one, and then move back into this one. So like 1 skein of each, and then I could move and to the other project. But it honestly felt quite forced, and like I was forcing myself to knit on this one when I didn't want to, and like I had to knit to allow myself to work on the other project. So I don't think I'm going to continue doing that, but it did work, and I got to the ribbing, and then I started the ribbing, and that was such... I hated doing ribbing with this black yarn and mohair, because when I did my Eva, which is also black, and did the ribbing on that was horrible. But at least that yarn is like smooth, so I could actually see if it was a purl stitch or knit stitch. With this one I felt like you couldn't see it all, and also I knit this on 3.5mm, so the gauge is a bit tighter, and I think I actually managed to knit pearls on pearls and knit stitches on knit stitches, but it was, I had to like look at it this closely all the time, and it was just such a pain. So I got even less motivation, and then when I finally got to the point where I was going to cast off, I was going to do Italian cast off, and I started doing that, and I think I got like 10 stitches in, and I was like, this is horrible. I didn't really like the elasticity it had. That got better after I did more stitches, but I didn't like the experience of doing Italian bind off with mohair. I didn't like how it looked. I didn't like, it felt very tight, but so I was like, oh my god, I'm going to rip this out and just do normal cast off. But I think it's going to be worse to try to rip mohair back, especially like Italian bind off, than to just do it. So I did Italian bind off. So I did do Italian bind off for all of it, and it did get a lot more stretchy as I went on and got more stitches. I just got a bit scared in the beginning because I was like, oh my god, this is silk, so it doesn't have that bounce that wool does, so that if this is tight, it's going to be tight. But luckily it's not that tight now, and most of all, luckily it's done. I don't think I'm ever going to do Italian bind off with double strand of mohair again in a project like this, but I am going to do it on the sleeves for this because I want it to match. But I'm going to keep that in mind to not do Italian bind off with 2 strands of mohair again. But yeah, now the body is done, which was my goal. I'm really pleased with that, and I am supposed to start working on the sleeves, but my motivation really took a hit after that whole Italian bind off debacle. But today I want to start working on the first sleeve. Hopefully the sleeves will go by really fast because I really want this to be done by the next podcast and gifted away. I have not checked yet in the pattern if you're supposed to do decreases or not. Hopefully you're not supposed to do them, because then I can just work the sleeves with my circular needles. That just always goes a lot faster. So I have to check that, but I hope that I can just whip one sleeve out tonight, honestly, at least half a sleeve. That would be really nice, because I am very ready for this to be off the needles. It's not like it's not been on my needles for very long, but this project, I think it got cast on over a year ago, and now it's been on my needles for almost, I don't know, almost a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know, more than enough. So I'm ready to get this project cast off so I can start focusing on other things. But yeah, I think that's it for this one. I don't know if I mentioned, but this is knit with Drops Kid Silk in the color black, 2 strands held together. I know I mentioned that. But yeah, hopefully this will be done the next time you see it. And then I actually have another WIP, and it's actually another adult sweater WIP, because I think I talked about this in the last podcast, that I thought that I might have cast this on by the next podcast, and I was right, but I did manage to hold off until not last night but the night before that, and this is my reward to myself for having done that Italian bind off. And this is the Melange sweater by Petiteknit. It's also for myself. This is going to be a match with the sweater my son already has. I can show that. I really enjoy this sweater for him. I really like the fit. I've been eyeing this for some time. I didn't like the Melange at all when Petit first released it, but then it grew on me for quite some time. I made one for my son last May, and now it's grown on me even more, and I want to make myself one. The idea behind this started when I was making my porcelain sweater, and I realized I was going to have loads of leftover yarn. I'm knitting this in Flora in white and denim blue. I don't have any skeins to show because I just ran out of yarn. But yeah, I'm making this in my leftovers from my Flora and to match with my son, so I'm really excited about this. This has also been a great project because, as I said, this week I just feel like nothing's really moved along. I've just been knitting, and it looks the same to me. So it was great to cast on something, get that quick like dopamine fix, and then this is knit in panels, so you see it move just and grow really quickly. Started with the back yoke here, and this also is German short rows, which I love. The back yoke picked up for shoulders, and now I've finished both of the shoulders. I did the back yoke the first night and then the shoulders yesterday, and now I this morning just connected in the front with this one. This was supposed to just be like a cast on, get that dopamine, and then go back to my other projects. But I got so obsessed with this, and then I told myself, okay, be obsessed with it, enjoy it, go for it. but when you finish the back yoke, go back to your other projects. And then I finished the back yoke and I was like, oh, but I want to knit more. So I knit more. I finished the first shoulder. I finished the second shoulder. I joined together, still didn't want to stop. So now I've knit quite a lot past that point. But now I've knit up my first 2 skeins. And I feel like that's a good place to take a break and go back to the Sunday sweater and the Violeta and work on those a bit. And then when I go back to this one, I'm probably going to do the neck, just because it feels way more like a sweater once you get in the collar. And then I think I'm only like 2 centimeters off from joining in the round. So this sweater is just moving along really quickly, but this is supposed to be like my brainless knit. So I am going to, from here on out, try to work on this only during the day when my son's awake, when I need like to turn my brain off for a bit. This is what I'm going to be knitting on, and then try to knit on my Violeta and the Sunday in the evenings where I have like uninterrupted knitting time. But yeah, I don't know what my goal for this is the next week, because with this one I like have to stall myself to not just knit on this. I think if my heart could decide, I think I would be done with this by the next podcast, but I'm trying to like calm it a bit down and also work on the other knits so those don't turn into UFOs while I'm knitting on this. But I am really excited for this one as well, and I can also imagine this in the spring once we can finally stop wearing our outer coats, me and my son matching in our sweaters. I think it will be so lovely. I've also been trying to like ask my fiance, do you want one? Do you maybe want one? I could make one for you. Do you want to match? And he's like, I already have all the sweaters I need. So he says he doesn't need any sweaters, but I think he would look cute in one and we would look cute matching. And he is wearing a hole through his knits now, so he wears them a lot. So maybe it would be nice with another knit so he wouldn't just wear the few ones he has, and then all of them would last a bit longer. So, but that's my plan for this one. Already planning another one, as you can hear. But yeah, hopefully I'll have at least one finished object next week. I don't have any this week. I've just been knitting on those adult sweaters, and adult sweaters just take time, so I've not been able to finish anything. I think after these 3 adult sweaters, though, that I'm going to take like a step back. I'm going to knit some things for my son. I'm going to knit like small accessories, mittens, socks, all of that, ready for a few smaller projects now after all of these larger ones. But yeah, I also have gotten yarn. I was so lucky also. At the beginning of January, was it at the beginning of January? I think at the beginning of January I talked about those slippers that I had made for myself that I unfortunately ruined by felting them. I overfelted them a lot. Now they're you could not tell that they were meant to be slippers. I used them as, I think it's called trivets. I can't remember now, but like hot mats for our table when we have hot dishes. So those slippers got ruined, and I was very sad about it and talked about that. And one of you reached out to me on Ravelry and said that you had a lot of Nepal in your stash. Thank you so much for that. And you said that I could, if I wanted to, have a look and see if I wanted any of what was in your stash to make myself a replacement pair of slippers. thank you so much for that. And my original slippers were light grey, but then I saw this color in her stash and I just fell in love with this color as well. I think I just wanted light slippers, so I think this is beige. I'm really excited about knitting slippers in beige. This is Dropsnabal, it's just caked up, and look at what a beautiful cake this is also. Please tell me how to do it. I've tried to make cakes, they look so sloppy and I can't use like speak with my hands when holding them because they would just like fall apart. But thank you so much, Denise, for giving me this Dropsnabal. I'm really excited to start working on this. This is definitely going to be one of the small projects I do after I'm done with all these sweaters. We are leaving on winter holiday at the end of this month, I think the end of February to the beginning of March, and we're going on quite a long road trip, and then I think like 12 hours. So it would be really nice to have slippers on my feet then, because I don't want to wear shoes for 12 hours and I think it could get quite cold and still be quite cold. So I really want to have slippers then. So hopefully I'll have the time to make these slippers by then, and when I do, I'm going to sit by the washing machine and watch these felt, because I don't want to make that mistake again. I think I'm also probably going to ask my grandma for tips, because she felts quite a lot and I don't think she ruins what she felt. So hopefully this time I will actually get slippers out of it. But I'm really excited about that, and thank you so much for gifting me Nepal when I ruined what I had. Yeah, I don't have any finished objects, and those are the 3 WIPs that I have, so I don't really have a lot more to share with you guys this week, just because I have mostly only been working on 2 WIPs. But I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I think it might have been a bit short, but I hope that's okay. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment, and if you want to see more from me, please subscribe and ring that bell button so you'll be notified when I post. Bye!